Hello and welcome to today's video where I show you all my mods, one-offs and prototypes. So starting with my modded pedals, I have Boss Hm2 that was modded by AIB Custom FX. It's either the VARC mod or the Fenris mod. I think it's the VARC mod, and it basically makes the hyper metal really chainsaw, makes it much closer to the Hm2. I use this for studio purposes. I don't use it this much actually. But good thing about it, it's very quiet, so I can, well, use it whenever I want to have some fun. Next up is this Boss DS1. It's also modded by AIB Custom FX. It also got a chainsaw mod, and same goes as with the Hm2. I use it on when I have a reamping job and, well, basically just to toy around with. These days, doesn't get much use, to be honest. And the last mod from AIB Custom FX is the Boss Metal Zone. This is called the Fenris mod, I think, and it basically makes the Boss MT2 into an Boss Hm2. And this mod really shines. As for the other two pedals, I use this for reamping purposes because it's also very, very quiet. And I have another modded Boss MT2. This one is modded by Hm2 Audio. It's again a chainsaw mod, as with all the previous three pedals. And this one was gifted to me by my friend Benjon for, well, just because he's a very nice guy. And I really, really like this sound. I use it not as often as I should. Maybe I'll explore more of it in the future, but most of the time I use it when I have a reamping job. Now, this pedal is both a one-off and a mod, because this is it's actually from Aris Effects in Canada, and it's was advertised as a Tube Screamer prototype. And because I found it very boring, I've sent it over to AIB Custom FX, and he modded it, and now it's a really gnarly overdrive, has way more gain, and has a huge boost at 1K, so it's really now a death metal boost pedal, or death metal overdrive if you want it. I have literally gotten it about 2 weeks ago, so I haven't played much with it, but I can totally see myself using it whenever I don't want to have a chainsaw sound, but I want to still have an ugly death metal tone. Now I have two DIY pedals that I haven't soldered myself. And I technically call them, again, one-offs. This is from God City Instruments. It's his signature Distortion Pillar. I bought it this way, and it's surprisingly good. And I use it again as with the prototype of the Tube Screamer whenever I want to have a gnarly death metal tone that's not an Hm2. And this works both well in front of a clean amp and in front of a distorted amp. And the other one is this Hm2 Diy Kit. It's from Musikding. It's called the Hm2 TWO. And sadly it has some capacitor is off or some resistance, which results in the wrongest low peak that you can imagine when you build an Hm2 clone. Therefore it sounds awful, and therefore I don't use it. I have to replace this capacitor to its real value, so otherwise it's just not useless, and I don't use it therefore. So now I have a few custom one-off pedals. We started with this one I rarely talk about. It's an Hm2 clone. It's made by Hm2 Audio, and this is one of the earliest Hm2 pedals that I bought. I have it for 4 years or so, and I originally wanted to use it with one of my former bands, and I actually have used it. However, it wasn't as cutting as a true Hm2, and therefore I swapped it. So this one doesn't get much use today. However, it sounds awesome, and whenever you want to have a wall of sound, you can basically use this. So now I have this pedal. It's made by JD Music Labs. It's a one-off, and it's basically a Mesa 5-band EQ pedal in a smaller form factor. It has all the 5 bands, and we have an output level and an input level as the original. And I asked him to add basically a presence and resonance control, so that I basically have a 7-band EQ, or that I can deactivate or activate those 2 bands, and both are shelves. So I can use this basically as a power amp simulation whenever I just want to have a pedal-based setup, so just pedals, no amps, and I need some more presence. Most of the time I need more presence, and therefore I really wanted to have it. But sometimes some resonance isn't bad, and these days I use this as the last pedal of a single chain based solely on pedals, or in the FX loop of some amps. Next up is this wah made by JD Music Labs as well. It's, first of all, it has this nice Nightbearer sigil here. It's based on my favorite wah, the Dunlop Crybaby with all the different knobs, and I wanted to have this in a mini pedal format, and I wanted it to activate without a foot switch, so when I press it, it activates, and I wanted it that it snaps back, so it doesn't stay at the one position, it snaps back. So it's very easy to use live, and I don't have any troubles with activating, deactivating, etc. All the controls that are external on the original Dunlop are internal here, and I've set them to my liking, but I can easily change them whenever I want. This is on my live pedal board, and I use it on every show with Nightbearer and Burden of Grief. And my last one-off pedal is, well, actually not really a pedal. It's basically a single splitter, 1 input, 2 outputs, made by JD Music Labs as well. I have the volumes for the different outputs. I use this on every Chainsaw Files video when I make a comparison with the original Hm2, because the pink noise goes into this box, and then it goes from output 1 to the Hm2, and from output 2 to whatever pedal I am comparing it to. And therefore it's very useful. I use it as well when I reamp and want to have 2 different sounds at the same time. So output 1 goes to sound 1 and output 2 goes to sound 2. The artwork, I told him do whatever you want, and he wanted to have me, which is awesome, of course, because I am awesome. And I have 2 more pedals I want to show you. Both aren't really mods, but aren't really one-offs, but they are special, at least for me. And that's the Angry Sweet. I have the version 1, and I have Angry Sweet version 2. And both are actually prototypes. So this is prototype 7. And this is a prototype, not any number, but this one was made especially with me in mind, because I originally reviewed, I was one of the first YouTubers who reviewed the Angry Sweet, and I was very pleased. I still think this is awesome, and as a thanks, he made this early prototype for me. It was already perfect, so I told Guillaume not to change anything. So this sounds the same as the regular serial model, and both pedals, well, I like them. And if you want a mini Hm2 pedal, you basically have to buy it. Either, I don't think the version 1 is still available, but you can buy this without a doubt. I still think this is how the Hm2 Wasa should have been made, because this one has a blend control and it sounds the same as the best Hm2 pedals. So those were all my pedals that were enhanced, modified, or built especially for me, plus 2 DIY pedals. Well, technically they were one-offs, aren't they? So what do you think about those pedals? Do you own one of the pedals I showed you, maybe even with the same mod? If not, or if so, write a comment down below in the comment section. Write also a comment of your favorite modded pedal or of your modded pedals that you own, prototypes or DIY kits. And if you want to support this channel, check out the links in the description. Well, and with this said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. May the force be with you and have a nice day.